In the year 2157, Earth was not alone in the universe. Humans had learned this 30 years ago when they first met aliens from distant stars. At first, everyone was excited. But soon, humans found out that the galaxy was run by something called the Galactic Council. This group of powerful alien races made all the big decisions about who could go where in space. Jack Harper stood tall in the massive council chamber. The room was bigger than any building on Earth, with walls that seemed to reach the stars. Thousands of alien eyes watched him from seats that rose up like mountains. Jack was the top admiral of Earth's space fleet, and today he had to defend all of humanity. "The evidence is clear," said High Counselor Zivzar, a being made of what looked like blue crystal. His voice boomed through the chamber without him seeming to speak. "Humans have broken council law by making weapons we forbid, and by settling planets without permission." Jack stepped forward. The floor beneath him lit up, showing he was allowed to speak. "We did what we needed to survive," Jack said firmly. 3 times our colonies were attacked by raiders. The council did nothing to help us. We asked for protection and were ignored, so we protected ourselves. A murmur ran through the alien crowd. Some nodded, but most looked angry. Olivia Reyes sat behind Jack. As Earth's top scientist, she had helped create the very weapons the council was upset about. She knew the real reason the aliens were afraid. Humans learned and adapted faster than any species they had ever seen. In just 30 years, Earth had gone from having no space travel to building ships almost as good as those used by races who had been in space for thousands of years. "The issue is not just what you have done," said another council member, a tall, thin alien with 6 arms. "It is what you might do. Your kind develops too quickly. You are unpredictable." Jack tried again. "We want peace. We want to trade and learn and be part of this galactic community. Judge us by our actions, not your fears." The council members turned to each other, speaking in ways humans couldn't hear or understand. It didn't take long for them to decide. Zivzar raised all 4 of his arms. "The judgment of the council is made. The species known as humans poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. For the next 500 years, all humans must stay in their home solar system. Any human ship that tries to leave will be destroyed." The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens cheered. Others seemed unhappy with the decision. Jack's face showed no emotion, though inside he felt like punching something. "And our colonies? We have thousands of people living on worlds beyond our solar system." "They will be returned to Earth," Zivzar said. "Council ships will transport them. You have 1 Earth year to prepare for their arrival." As Jack and Olivia walked back to their ship, guards with energy weapons watched their every move. Other humans from the delegation joined them, all silent until they reached the safety of their vessel. Once inside, Captain Ben Miller slammed his fist against the wall. 500 years. That's a death sentence for our future." "It's worse than that," said Olivia. "They're going to put sentinel platforms around our entire system, automated weapons that will shoot down any ship that tries to leave. We'll be prisoners in our own home." Jack looked out the viewport at the massive council station. It was shaped like a giant wheel, with ships from 100 worlds coming and going. Humans would no longer be welcome here. "They've made a terrible mistake," Olivia said quietly. Jack turned to her. "What do you mean?" "They think they're being merciful by not wiping us out, but they've just given us time. Time to prepare, time to grow stronger." Jack nodded slowly. "They fear what we might become, so they cage us. But they don't understand what happens when you cage something that doesn't want to be caged." The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. Jack spent most of it planning what he would say to Earth's leaders. This wasn't the end of humanity's reach for the stars. It was just the beginning of a new approach. When they arrived, the news had already reached Earth through council channels. People were angry and scared. Riots had broken out in some cities. The world's governments were in emergency sessions. Jack and Olivia were taken straight to the United Earth Defense Council meeting in Geneva. Leaders from every nation sat around a massive table, their faces grim. "Is there any way to appeal this decision?" asked President Maria Foster. Jack shook his head. The Council doesn't work that way, their word is final. Then we're trapped, said General Peter Grant. Confined to our solar system like animals in a zoo. No, said Jack firmly. We're not animals. We're humans. And humans have always found ways to overcome obstacles. Olivia stepped forward with a data pad. I've been working on something. A new type of engine. The Council can track our normal, faster-than-light drives, but this would be different. It might take years to perfect, but it could be a way to slip past their blockade. The room grew quiet as people considered this. You're talking about breaking their rules, said President Foster. If we're caught, they could decide to eliminate us completely. Which is why we won't get caught, Jack replied. The Council expects us to follow their rules because every other species does, but we're not like other species. He walked to the center of the room and looked at each person there. They've given us a choice. Accept their judgment and slowly die in our little corner of space, or fight back in ways they can't imagine. I know what I choose. One by one, the leaders nodded. No formal vote was taken. None was needed. What do we do first? Asked General Grant. We prepare, said Jack. We build up our industry in the solar system. We develop new technologies that the Council can't detect. We become stronger, smarter, more united than ever before. And then? Asked someone. Jack smiled for the first time since returning to Earth. Then we show the galaxy why they were right, to fear us. As word spread across Earth and to the human colonies being evacuated, something unexpected happened. Instead of falling into despair, humanity found purpose. If the galaxy thought humans were dangerous, they would prove just how right that fear was. The exile had begun, but so had humanity's greatest chapter. 50 years passed after the Council's exile of humanity. Earth and the entire solar system had changed in ways that would shock the aliens who had imprisoned them. Nate Wilson walked through his lab on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. The air was cold, but Nate didn't mind. He had grown up here, one of the first generation of humans born after the exile. To him, the domed cities of Titan were home. Giant windows showed Saturn's rings outside, but Nate wasn't looking at the view. His eyes were on the small ship in the center of the lab. It didn't look special, just a black, smooth craft about the size of a small airplane. But this ship would change everything. Final test complete, said Ellen Wright, Nate's top engineer. She smiled as she looked up from her screen. The quantum fold drive works perfectly. The test drone jumped to Mars and back without any of our sensor networks detecting it. Nate touched the side of the ship. It had taken him 20 years to create this technology. The quantum fold drive didn't move through space like normal ships. Instead, it folded space itself, slipping through what Nate called the gaps between reality. Most importantly, it didn't create the energy signature that the Council Sentinel platforms were designed to detect. We can slip past the blockade, Nate said quietly. We can leave the solar system again. How soon can we tell the Defense Council? Ellen asked. Now, Nate replied. They're waiting for my call. An hour later, Nate stood in front of a wall of screens. On each one was the face of a leader from somewhere in the solar system. Earth, Mars, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, even the asteroid belt colonies. All were represented. The prototypes are ready, Nate announced. We can build ships that the Sentinels can't detect. We can break the exile. General Laura Hayes leaned forward on her screen. She was the granddaughter of someone who had been on a colony when the exile happened. Her family had never forgiven the Council for forcing them back to the solar system. How many ships can we equip with this drive? She asked. At first just scouts, Nate admitted. The drive is complex and requires rare materials, but within 5 years we can outfit an entire stealth fleet. 5 years, repeated Joseph Kim, the president of United Earth. 50 years we've waited already. 5 more is nothing. The truth was humanity had used these 50 years well. When the Council forced humans back to their solar system, they expected them to stagnate. Cut off from expansion, they thought humans would fight among themselves and waste their energy on internal conflicts. The opposite happened. With a common enemy and a clear goal, humans united like never before. The solar system became their workshop. Every planet and moon and asteroid used to build something greater. On the asteroid Ceres, Samuel Ross watched automated mining machines dig into the rock. As director of the Belt Industries, Sam oversaw the largest mining operation in human history. "How many ships can we build from this month's ore?" asked his assistant. Sam checked his tablet. "Enough for 10 heavy cruisers, plus all the support vessels. But remember, we're not just building ships, we're building the future." The asteroids had become humanity's greatest resource. Some were hollowed out and turned into hidden factories. Others became training grounds for space crews. The biggest were made into mobile platforms that could travel around the system, mining and building wherever they went. No Council spy satellites could see inside these asteroids. The Council thought humans were just mining for resources to support their growing population. They had no idea humanity was preparing for war. Back on Earth in the underwater city of New Atlantis, Olivia Reyes sat in her garden. Now almost 90 years old, she had lived to see humanity transform. As one of the original exiles, she had made it her life's work to prepare the next generation. A young woman approached her. "Admiral Harper's granddaughter is here to see you." "Dr. Reyes," Olivia smiled. "Send her in." Megan Harper was nothing like her grandfather in appearance, but she had his same determined look. At 32, she was already a captain in Earth's defense fleet. "Dr. Reyes," Megan said with respect as she sat down. "I'm told we'll be breaking the blockade soon." "Dr. Wilson's drive works," Olivia confirmed. "You'll be among the first to use it, I expect." "I wanted to ask you something," Megan said. "You were there when the exile happened, you and my grandfather. He told me once that you said the Council made a terrible mistake. Did you know even then what would happen?" Olivia looked out at the ocean beyond the clear dome that protected the city. Fish swam past, their shapes blurry through the thick barrier. "I knew humanity," she said simply. "The Council saw us as children, dangerous and unpredictable. But they didn't understand what makes humans special. We don't break under pressure, we adapt. We find solutions. They gave us boundaries, and we used those boundaries to define ourselves." She turned back to Megan. "The Council gave us the one thing we needed most, a reason to become better than we were. And humanity had become better. In the confined space of the solar system, humans had created marvels. Cities now floated in the clouds of Venus. The moons of Jupiter had become gardens that grew food for billions. Mars was completely terraformed, with oceans and forests where once there was only dust. The population had grown to 30 billion, spread across the entire system. Every person had a purpose: to help humanity break free. In a secure facility, beneath the Olympus Mons on Mars, engineers were building the first true starships equipped with quantum fold drives. Unlike the exploration vessels of the past, these were designed for stealth and speed. "The Pathfinder will be ready in 6 months," said Chief Engineer Greg Foster, as he led General Hayes through the underground hangar. "It can carry a crew of 20 with supplies for a year." Laura ran her hand along the black hull of the half-finished ship. "And the Sentinels won't detect it?" "According to all our tests, it will be completely invisible to them. We can slip past the blockade, establish bases beyond the solar system, and the Council will never know." Laura smiled. It had been her life's dream to see humanity break free. "Have you chosen a crew yet?" "We're still selecting them," Greg replied. "They'll be the best we have, the pioneers of our return to the stars." As the day ended across the solar system, billions of humans looked up at the night sky. For 50 years, those stars had been forbidden to them. But no longer. Soon, humanity would reach out again. And this time, they would not be stopped. The exile had not broken humanity. It had forged them into something stronger, something the Council would soon learn to fear. By the year 2240, human ships moved among the stars once more. For the first time in 83 years, people from Earth traveled beyond their solar system. But they did so in complete secret, hidden from the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council. Captain Diane Rivera stood on the bridge of the scout ship Horizon. Through the front window, she could see a beautiful blue-green moon orbiting a gas giant. Her scans showed that the moon had breathable air and liquid water. It was perfect. "Looks like we found our first new home," she said to her crew of 12. "Proxima Centauri's third planet, Moon 2. Just far enough from Council space that they never bothered to claim it." Her second-in-command, Paul Garcia, checked the ship's sensors. "No sign of Sentinel activity. We're still invisible to them." The quantum fold drive had worked perfectly, while the Council's automated platforms continued to guard the edges of Earth's solar system. Human ships slipped past them like ghosts. The Sentinels were programmed to detect the energy signatures of standard faster-than-light drives. They had no way to spot the folded space that human ships now use to travel. "We'll establish our first foothold here," Diane told her crew. "Remember the rules. No signals, no transmissions that could reach Council space. We're ghosts out here." Over the next few weeks, more ships arrived, bringing equipment and supplies. This first colony beyond the blockade was small, just 50 people to start. Their job was to build the foundation for thousands more who would follow. "The food production domes are ready," reported Linda West, the colony's agricultural specialist. "We can grow enough to feed 500 people by next year." Diane nodded with approval. "Good. And the mining operations?" "We've found rich deposits of titanium and rare earths," said Carlos Mendez, the mining chief. "Enough to start building more ships right here instead of bringing everything from Sol." That was the key to humanity's plan. Each new colony would quickly become self-sufficient. If one was discovered, the others could continue to grow. Humans would spread like a silent wave across unclaimed star systems. 3 years later, humanity had established 5 shadow colonies. Each was hidden on worlds the Council thought worthless, moons of gas giants, planets with harsh but livable conditions, asteroids rich in minerals. On the frontier colony of New Horizon, engineer Alan Foster worked in a large dome building. Before him stood a massive machine that hummed with power. "Is it ready?" asked Patricia Chen, the colony's governor. Alan made one final adjustment. "Yes. When I activate this, our entire settlement will be hidden by the same principles that hide our ships. The Council could fly right over us and see nothing but empty land." Patricia smiled. "They expect us to sit quietly in our cage. Instead, we're building an empire right under their noses." Alan activated the planetary shield. A slight shimmer passed through the air, then nothing. But the colony had just become invisible to all standard Council scanning methods. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity maintained its act. Regular transmissions went out to the Council reporting continued compliance with the exile terms. The Council representatives who occasionally visited the solar system saw exactly what humans wanted them to see: a civilization confined to one system, making the best of their punishment. What they didn't see were the secret shipyards inside, hollow asteroids. They didn't detect the quantum fold drive factories hidden beneath the surface of Mars. And they never realized that the population numbers humans reported were much lower than reality, as millions of people had already left to settle new worlds. By 2250, humanity had established 15 shadow colonies across 12 star systems. Each colony focused on different resources and industries, creating a network that grew stronger every year. In the Tau Ceti system, the colony of Hunters Point specialized in building warships. Far from Council space, these vessels were larger and more powerful than anything humans had created before. "The Guardian-class destroyer is ready for its test flight," announced Chief Engineer Maria Scott to Admiral Ryan Grant. "Twice the firepower of anything the Council has, and completely undetectable to their sensors." Ryan walked around the massive ship. It was beautiful in a dangerous way, all smooth black surfaces and hidden weapon ports. "Have we decided when we'll reveal ourselves to the Council?" "Not for at least another 50 years, Maria replied. "We need at least 100 colonies and a full battle fleet before we show our hand." Back on Earth, the secret was getting harder to keep. Nearly 1 billion people had now left the solar system for the colonies. The old cities were being converted into museums and parks as fewer people remained to live in them. To hide this from Council inspectors, Many of Earth's remaining people lived in underground cities or in orbital habitats that could be quickly populated during inspections. It was an elaborate deception that every human understood the importance of maintaining. In the asteroid belt, Mining Director Calvin Reynolds supervised the loading of a stealth transport ship. "This is the last of the special equipment for the Epsilon Eridani colony," he told his assistant. "With this, they can start building their own quantum fold drives locally." That was another part of the plan. Each colony would become capable of building the drives that allowed humans to travel undetected. Each would become a launching point for more colonies. The expansion was slow at first, but it was accelerating. On the colony world of Titan's Forge, in the Epsilon Eridani system, new settlers arrived monthly. What had started as a small outpost now had a population of 20,000. Dome cities spread across the rocky planet's surface, hidden beneath stealth shields. Colony Administrator Frank Miller welcomed a group of new arrivals. "You'll find, life here is good," he told them. "We have everything we need, and the Council has no idea we exist." A young woman looked around with wide eyes. "It's hard to believe we've done all this in secret." Frank smiled. The Council's greatest mistake was thinking they could cage humanity. Instead, they just taught us how to pick locks. For now, the human colonies remained hidden, but the day would come when they would reveal themselves to the galaxy, not as the prisoners the Council had intended, but as a rising power that had transformed exile into opportunity. Earth continued its silent rebellion, one colony at a time, building toward the day when humans would take their rightful place among the stars. In the year 2287, the day that humans had both expected and feared finally arrived. A Council scientific vessel entered the Epsilon Eridani system on a routine survey mission. The ship was not looking for human settlements. The Council still believed humans were safely contained in their home system. The alien scientists were simply updating star charts and collecting data on planetary atmospheres. But luck was not on humanity's side that day. A power fluctuation in the stealth shield protecting the colony of Titan's Forge happened at exactly the wrong moment. For just 30 seconds, the shield failed. It was enough. "Unidentified settlement detected on 4th planet," reported the Council ship's sensor operator to Captain Zilnak. Structure readings match known human construction patterns. The Council ship moved closer to investigate. On the planet below, alarms sounded throughout the colony. "Stealth shield malfunction in Sector 7, the automated system announced. "Shield restored, but Council vessel has altered course toward the colony." Colony Administrator Frank Miller rushed to the control center. "What are our options?" he asked his security chief. "We have 3, replied Security Director Grace Wilson. 1, we destroy the Council ship and hope no one comes looking for it. 2, we evacuate the colony and abandon it before they land. 3, we capture them and prevent them from reporting back." Frank shook his head firmly. "We're not murderers. Option 1 is out." "We can't abandon the colony either," said Chief Engineer Andy Cole. "We've spent decades building this place, and we have 40,000 people here now." "Then we go with option 3, Frank decided. "Prepare a team to capture the Council vessel. No lethal force unless absolutely necessary." Within an hour, 5 stealth shuttles launched from the colony, their quantum fold drives allowing them to appear suddenly around the Council ship. Before the aliens could send any message to their homeworld, the human vessels had disabled their communications and engines with precise energy pulses. "This is Security Director Wilson of the human colony Titan's Forge," Grace broadcast to the alien ship. "Your vessel will be boarded. Do not resist and you will not be harmed." The Council scientists surrendered without a fight. They were too shocked to do otherwise. According to everything they knew, humans were still confined to their home system, unable to pass the Sentinel blockade. "Impossible," said Captain Zilnak as Frank Miller came aboard. "How did your kind leave your system undetected?" Frank didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "When are you expected to report back to the Council?" "In 17 days, the alien captain replied. "When we fail to do so, they will send ships to investigate." Frank nodded. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for. The secret was out, but not completely. They still had time. "Send a message to Earth Central Command," he told Grace. "Tell them it's time for Operation Daybreak." Back in the Sol system, Earth Defense Force Commander Sophia Bennett received the message. For decades, humanity had planned for this moment. Now the plan would be put into action. "Activate the emergency network," she ordered. "All colonies to implement Protocol 7 immediately." Across 42 star systems, human colonies received the coded message. Protocol 7, the coordinated revelation of human presence throughout the galaxy. Instead of allowing the Council to discover their colonies one by one, humanity would unveil everything at once, showing their true strength. Within hours, every human settlement activated powerful transmitters that had remained dormant since their founding. These devices sent signals that the Council could not miss, announcing human presence on worlds that should have been empty. At the same time, the hidden human fleet emerged from its secret bases. 200 warships, more advanced than anything the Council had seen before, took up defensive positions around the human colonies. On the Galactic Council homeworld, alarms sounded as the signals were detected. "This is impossible," said Counselor Threlvac as reports flooded in. "Humans are under blockade. They cannot have ships beyond their system." "The evidence suggests otherwise," replied another counselor, pointing at the display showing human signals coming from dozens of star systems. "They have somehow broken containment on a massive scale." The Council quickly organized an emergency session. They also dispatched their peacekeeping fleet to investigate the nearest human colony signals. Admiral Daniel Scott led the human diplomatic mission to the Council. His ship, the Defiance, was the largest vessel humans had ever built, a symbol of their new power. As it approached the Council station, the aliens could only watch in stunned silence. "How is this possible?" demanded Counselor Threlvac when Admiral Scott stood before them. "Your species was under constant surveillance. The Sentinel blockade was impenetrable." Daniel smiled coldly. "You watched our cage but never understood what was inside it. Humanity doesn't break under pressure. We transform." He activated a holographic display showing the extent of human territory. 42 star systems with over 100 colonies and a combined population of nearly 4 billion people. "For over a century, we have lived among the stars while you believed us confined. We have built an empire right under your gaze." The Council was thrown into chaos. Some members called for immediate military action to force humans back to their home system. Others argued that the situation had changed too dramatically for the old exile to be enforced. "The Council has made a decision, and it must be upheld," insisted High Counselor Zivzar, descendant of the one who had sentenced humanity to exile. "Humans must return to their solar system as ordered." "I'm afraid that's not possible," Admiral Scott replied calmly. "We are not here to ask permission. We are here to inform you of the new reality. Humanity has reclaimed its right to the stars." Meanwhile, the first engagement between Council forces and the Earth Defense Fleet occurred at Tau Ceti. The Council had sent 15 warships to secure the human colony there. They were met by 30 human vessels. "Council vessels, this is Captain Lisa Mitchell of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your presence in this system is unwelcome. Withdraw immediately." The Council ships ignored the warning and moved to attack. What followed was a short but decisive battle. Human ships, using technology developed in secret over decades, easily outmatched the Council vessels. Within an hour, 5 Council ships had been destroyed, 7 disabled, and 3 had retreated. News of the defeat spread quickly through Council space. The impossible had happened. Not only had humans escaped their confinement, but they had built a military force strong enough to challenge the Council itself. The age of human exile was over. The age of human expansion had begun. By the year 2310, the galaxy had changed forever. After decades of humans living in secret beyond their solar system, and then 23 years of limited conflicts with the Council, a new peace was finally established. The Treaty of New Geneva formally ended the exile of humanity. The document was signed in orbit around Earth, with representatives from all Council races present. It was a moment of triumph that few humans had dared to imagine when the exile began over 150 years ago. Chancellor Eric Donovan represented humanity at the treaty signing. At 62 years old, he had spent his entire life working toward this day. As a young diplomat, he had helped establish relations with some of the smaller non-council races. Now, he stood before the most powerful beings in the galaxy as their equal. "We come not seeking revenge but recognition," Eric said in his speech. "Not domination but partnership. You feared what humanity might become. Now see what we have become despite your fear." The council had little choice but to accept the new reality. The series of limited conflicts that followed humanity's revelation had shown that human technology and military capability matched or exceeded the council's in many areas. Humans had won nearly every battle. Their ships, developed in secret over decades, used principles that council scientists were only beginning to understand. Their weapons were precise and powerful. Most importantly, humans fought with an intensity and creativity that stunned their opponents. They adapt during battle, one council commander had reported after a defeat. They change strategies when something doesn't work, faster than any species I've encountered. Fighting them is like fighting an opponent who learns your weaknesses as you expose them. After the treaty was signed, the former exile zone around Sol was transformed. The Sentinel platforms that had once imprisoned humanity were not destroyed. Instead, they were repurposed as monuments and navigation beacons. The very technology meant to contain humans now served as landmarks guiding visitors to the heart of human space. On the council homeworld, Dr. Kelly Martinez established the first permanent human embassy. As Earth's foremost expert on alien cultures, she was the perfect choice to represent humanity. Her first task was to explain to the council races why their plan had failed so completely. "By exiling us, you created the perfect conditions for our advancement," she told a group of council representatives during a private meeting. "No distractions, no political entanglements, just a clear adversary and a challenge to overcome. In your effort to prevent a human empire, you guaranteed its creation." Many council members were still afraid of humans, but others were fascinated. Human technology began to spread throughout council space. The quantum fold drive, now openly shared, revolutionized travel between systems. Human medicines helped cure diseases that had plagued some alien species for generations. Humans, for their part, finally had access to the full knowledge of the galaxy. The libraries and databases of the Council contained science and history from thousands of civilizations. Across millions of years, Earth scientists dove into this knowledge with excitement. On the colony world of New Terra, Governor Chris Watson welcomed a delegation of Council representatives. This was one of the first human worlds established in secret, now open for aliens to visit for the first time. "Our cities may look strange to you," Chris told the visitors as they toured the capital. "We built everything to be hidden from your sensors, but now we can rebuild in the open." All across human space, colonies that had developed in isolation began to trade and communicate with the rest of the galaxy. Some council races were shocked by how many worlds humans had settled. Over 100 planets and moons now held human populations. "How did your kind adapt to so many different environments?" asked a council biologist, amazed at reports of human settlements on worlds ranging from frozen ice planets to scorching desert worlds. "We've always been adaptable," replied Dr. Alex Morgan, a human xenobiologist. "It's our greatest strength. We don't need the perfect world. We make any world work for us." Not everything was peaceful. Some council races still resented humans for breaking the exile. A few radical groups even launched attacks on human settlements, but these were isolated incidents, quickly contained. The greater challenge was integrating humans into the galactic community after so many years of separation and secrecy. Many humans had grown up being taught that the council was the enemy. Changing those attitudes would take time. In Earth's orbit, the massive space station Unity was built as a symbol of the new era. Unlike the old council stations, which separated different species into their own sections, Unity was designed for all races to mix freely. "This is just the beginning," said Station Director Sandra Mitchell during the opening ceremony. Today we build bridges between worlds. Tomorrow, who knows what we might accomplish together? The galaxy was changing. Human influence spread rapidly, bringing new ideas and perspectives to cultures that had remained static for thousands of years. Some council members worried that humans moved too quickly, changed too much. But others embraced the fresh energy humans brought to the galactic community. In the chambers of the Galactic Council itself, humans now had a seat. Admiral John Reed, a veteran of the conflicts that had forced the Council to recognize humanity, served as the first human council member. "Our journey from exiles to equals is complete," John said in his acceptance speech. "But our greater journey is just beginning." The former High Counselor Zivzar, now in the twilight of his long life, met privately with Chancellor Donovan after the ceremony. "I must confess," the crystalline being said, his voice resonating in the small room, "that my ancestor made a grave error in exiling your kind. We feared your potential and tried to contain it. Instead, we helped focus it into something even more powerful." Eric smiled. "Perhaps it was not an error, but simply the push we needed. Without the exile, humanity might have spread too thin, too quickly. We might have fractured and fought among ourselves. Instead, we united and grew stronger." Zivzar's crystalline body shimmered as he considered this. An interesting perspective. Perhaps the universe unfolds as it should, despite our attempts to control it. As Eric looked out the window at the stars, he knew that humanity's future was now boundless. The empire they had built in secret was now visible to all, and it would only grow greater with time. The exile was over. The stars belonged to humanity too.